Namaskar. Welcome to my class once again. Today we shall discuss Ben Jonson's Song to Celia. Now, dear friends, you all know that Ben Jonson was an English playwright and poet. This poem, Song to Celia, was a part of the book The Forest. It was published in the year 1616. Now, this poem is a musical, lyrical poem. Here, the lover addresses his lady in an effort to encourage her to express her love for the speaker of these lines. Let us find out what the poem is all about. Drink to me only with thine eyes, and I will place with mine, or leave a kiss but in the cup, and I will not look for wine. The thirst that from the soul doth rise, doth ask a drink divine, but might I of Job's nectar sup, I would not change for thine. Now, a reading of the lines reveals that this is an intensely musical poem. The poet says, drink to me only with thine eyes. But before I start the explanation, let me tell you, Ben Jonson doesn't talk about who this Celia is. But as the name indicates, it must be a woman. I have already told you that this is a love poem, a poem of love, a poem celebrating love. So naturally, Celia must be a lady whom he must have appreciated, whom he must have loved. Now, dear friends, when a group of people or a group of friends sit down to have a drink, they fill the glass with wine, they raise it, and they say cheers. What exactly the meaning of cheers is? Why do they say cheers? Now, cheers is said expressing good wishes before drinking. This is also called toasting, Toasting, toasting each other's health, wishing each other good health. That is the meaning of toasting. The poet says, drink to me only with thine eyes. So here, eyes become very important. I don't need a glass. I don't need any wine. I only need your good wishes, your love expressed through your eyes. So eyes can, as you all know, eyes can, if you hold your gaze at least for a few minutes, a few seconds, this may indicate feelings of love. So for lovers do not always speak their feelings to each other. They do not always express their feelings to each other. At times, many things are spoken through eyes. Exchange of love takes place through the movement of eyes. Messages can be conveyed very easily. So, drink to me only with thine eyes. Beloved, my dear beloved, please express your love through your eyes. And once you do that, how will I respond? And I will place with mine. I will do the same thing. This is a promise on my part. I promise to respond with my own eyes. So, your this is where the importance is put on the eyes. Perhaps the poet wants to say that your looks are so intoxicating, so enchanting, so enthralling, so attractive that there is absolutely no need of drinking wine. Wine is something that is taken to produce intoxication, to be intoxicated by wine. Wine intoxicates you. But here, the love of the beloved is more intoxicating than wine. नशा, एक नशा बिलवेड की आइज से आ जाता है. और लीव ए किस बट इन द कप एंड आई विल नॉट लुक फॉर वाइन. So he asks his beloved to leave a kiss but in the cup, and he says, I will not look for wine. So your love is more important. Your love is more intoxicating than a cup of wine, than a glass of wine. The next four lines are interesting. This is where he talks about not the physicality of love, but spirituality of love. His love is divine. So he says, the thirst that from the soul doth rise, doth ask a drink divine, but might I of Job's nectar sup, I would not change for thine. The thirst from the soul doth rise. So the thirst that I experience doesn't emerge from my body. It is not a bodily thirst. It is not a physical thirst. It arises from my soul. So there is a touch of divinity to it. Some soul is immortal, body is physical. Body comes to an end. Soul is permanent. Soul never dies. So the thirst that from the soul doth rise, the thirst that rises in me, it arises not from my body but from my soul. And how you have to respond to it? Now, if it is physical thirst, if it is natural thirst, in a glass of wine or a glass of water would suffice. You will be able to quench your thirst by drinking a glass of wine or a glass of beer or a glass of wine. But here he says the thirst arises from the soul. And because the thirst arises from the soul, you have to respond by providing a drink divine, that is divine. So what I need is not physical satisfaction, physical gratification, but I need something that is divine. And the next two lines, how he praises his beloved, he says, but might I of Job's nectar sup, I would not change for thine. So if I had the opportunity to drink Job's nectar, who is Job? Jove, according to the Roman mythology, is the other name of Jupiter. And Jupiter is the god of the sky. He is the principal Roman god, most important Roman god. And in Greek mythology, he is called Zeus, the king of gods. He lives on Mount Olympus. So, all gods are immortal. And how the gods have become immortal? You must have heard. It's because they drink nectar. They drink Amrit. Nectar is Amrit. But here the poet says, if there comes an opportunity to drink Job's nectar, I will not go for it. What I will go for? I will go for the drink which is offered by you, your love, your appreciation, the message of your eyes. That is more important for me than what Jove can offer to me. I would still prefer the drink offered by Celia. This is where the first stanza ends. Now let us go to the second stanza. Second stanza, like the first stanza, also consists of 8 lines, and this is also very musical. I sent thee late a rosy wreath, not so much honoring thee as giving it a hope that there it could not withered be. As if there is something divine about, Celia. So what is a wreath? What he sent her? I sent you a rosy wreath. Is an arrangement of flowers, leaves, and stems fastened in a ring, in the form of a ring, fastened like a ring, and it is used for decoration. I sent thee late a rosy wreath, not so much honoring thee. What was the purpose in sending it to you? What was the purpose of my sending that rosy wreath to you? Not because I wanted to honor you, it's only because as giving it a hope that there it could not withered be. Wither is to dry up. That it would not dry up when with your touch, when you receive the wreath, when you touch it, it would not wither, it would not wither away, it would not dry up. As if your touch will make it everlasting, lasting forever, fresh forever. It will never come to an end, it will never wither or dry up. With your divine touch, it might be transformed. It could have an everlasting life. Everlasting is that never comes to an end. That will be available forever. That will live forever. So perhaps the poet is trying to tell that Celia is not a simple human being with a physical body, but perhaps there is something divine about her character. Perhaps she is a divine character. So there is something divine about her. There is something great about her. At the touch of her, at the simple touch of her body, simple touch of her hands, a wreath which only lasts for a very few days. The flowers, the stem, and the leaves that are there, which last for a very short period of time, they will be everlasting. They will be transformed. They will be everlasting. But how did Celia respond? But thou thereon didst only breathe and sentest it back to me. So Celia tossed it, breathed onto it. She must have held it close to her. She breathed into it and sentenced it back to me. You returned it back to me. And what has been the effect of that? What has been the effect of her touch? Since when it grows and smells, so the flowers have not withered, the flowers have not lost their fragrance, their smell, the sweet smell that emanated from the flowers, that came out from the flowers, are still coming out. And since when it grows and smells, it is still alive. It is still, it has not dried up. I swear, not of itself, but thee. Now it has started smelling like you. So your smell is much more enchanting than the smell of the flowers. So the wreath has not withered or dried up, it has remained everlasting. So, as I told you at the beginning, this is a poem of love. This is where the poet expresses his love for his beloved Celia. So, I hope this helps you. Thank you very much.